This is the module in which I'm going to go into more detail about funnels. In fact, we're going to be going down quite a few funnels together, so get used to it and prepare yourself. I will also be giving a little bit more detail about value funnels in particular in the next module, which is module 9, where I'm going to be talking about strategies to create consistent content. But I just very quickly want to give you an intro to a tool that I've created for my own use, which is what I call content wheels. So there's a PDF below this video that you can download with just a basic version of a content wheel. But most of, certainly myself and most of my clients just end up scribbling these out on pieces of paper in our notebooks and building onto them as we are inspired. I use them everywhere and I use them for everything. In fact, I even use them for things like mapping out an entire course like this and what each of the modules of the course needs to cover. So a content wheel is not just simply for creating content that you might be putting out there on a regular basis in social media, on your blog, or whatever whatever and wherever you choose to put your content out. But it can be used in a number of ways to almost like a mind map, help to collect your thinking around a particular topic. So the principle behind them is this. If you look broadly at your business, you will probably be able to identify main pillars within your business. So, for example, coaching is going to be one of them. You may have trained in a particular type of coaching or a number of particular types of coaching. You may also have a background in psychology or the social sciences. Have a look at the other backgrounds that you have. I was speaking to a client the other day where she spent most of her career doing very much what would traditionally have been considered a man's job in a man's world, a very male-dominated world. And if we just take my practice as an example, I've got 3 main pillars. The first is coaching, my area of specialist knowledge. I've been involved in the coaching industry, as you know, for over 20 years. Or for almost 20 years, and I've got an enormous amount of knowledge, experience, and expertise, and I've also got a huge number of contacts around the world and resources that I can plug into at any one time, and who are enormously generous with allowing me to share their knowledge. One of the other pillars is around my background in brand marketing and advertising, and the way that I have transitioned that to using it in an entrepreneurial space, which is really what we as coaches are in. And specifically how in the early years, my very, very firm belief and opinion coming from a multi-million rand brand marketing and advertising background, where I was responsible for 45 million rand budgets back in the early 2000s. So it was a lot of money in those days. But coming from that kind of a background and going into business for myself for the very first time, I got a huge big wake-up call, and I realized that you have to market and advertise your business in order to bring in the clients. But flip, if you don't have the budget, then you have to be really, really clever and inventive about how you go about doing it. And then over the years, as I've worked with my clients, I started to notice a particular pattern arise. And the thing that for me became what I now call the cornerstone of a really robust and sound marketing practice and strategy is finding and defining your coaching niche. Now, why do I say this? It's for a number of reasons. Firstly, and you've heard me say it before, you get really, really clear on the kind of work that you want to do, who you want to work with, and who you get your best results with, who you do your best work with. And also, you can then start to get really, really clear on your messaging. And I was talking to, again, the same client that I was chatting to, telling her about how I do ongoing research into my client base to make sure that I always have relevant and up-to-date information about what their main challenges are that they're facing at any one time. And let me tell you that I'm coming to the conclusion that there are a number of messages that just simply don't change over the years. I've been coaching for almost 20 years. When I first came into the coaching industry, the message that was going around when coaches used to sit in pity parties and pity puddles, as I want to call them, was that, oh dear, budgets are being slashed everywhere. Business is difficult. So I'm going back to early 2002. Business is difficult, and the first budgets to be slashed are the marketing budgets. And of course, you know what that means for coaching. Well, that message hasn't changed. Similarly, back in the day, 10 years ago, when I first started running my course on how to market your practice organically and without spending any money, the coaches were saying to me that they didn't have the time and they didn't have a strategy to be able to create the kind of regular visibility, presence, and content that you needed to be able to create in order to be showing up all the time. Again, that same message still comes through on a daily basis when people sign up for the various content that I give away for free. So those are my three main pillars. It's coaching, marketing your coaching practice in general, and finding and defining your niche. And if I was to take any one of these pillars and put them at the center of, if you can imagine a wheel, a little bit like an old-fashioned wagon wheel that has spokes coming off it, and then each spoke has got a kind of bubble at the end of it, each spoke representing a subtopic of the main topic. And let's use niche as an example, and I'll show you how I use this very strategy to create, and I've spoken about this before, cornerstone or pillar content, which is content that is anything between 3,000 and 5,000 words in one article. But what I did was I put my central topic in the center and then split it off into a series of smaller kind of subheadings that I was able to then puff out. And even those subheadings sitting like, on the side, I was able to make notes for each of the subheadings just to give them a little bit more content. So one of the, if the center of the wheel was niche, one of the spokes would become, what is a niche? Another spoke would become, what makes a good niche, and I might have jotted down a few points about what, in my opinion, makes a good niche. Another spoke would become 5 steps to finding your niche, and then I would have, taken off that 5 little points about 5 steps to finding your niche. And I also spoke about how niche is becoming the new mainstream, with more and more authoritative bodies and research identifying that finding and defining your niche is the best way to create a sustainable coaching business. Again, I had notes about the different bodies that were talking about it, and also notes that took me to the specific references or articles where I found that information, because we want to be credible when we quote someone. One of the other spokes would have been about, just lost my microphone, becoming a little bit of a habit. One of the other spokes would have been about why you should niche. Why would you want to niche? There are a lot of people who are quite hesitant about finding and defining their niche because they feel that it's going to put them in a box forever. And I'm quite clear to say here that niche is a journey, not a destination. And I can speak from my own experience. At one point, marketing your practice organically was my niche. And that part of my journey has actually been to find or decide that the cornerstone of effective marketing and effective messaging and consistent messaging is actually finding and defining your niche. One of the other cornerstones, of course, is defining your brand, and that's something else that I deal with. Another debate that we deal with in terms of niche is when in your business should you niche? Should it be right when you start, or do you want to get a little bit of experience and decide kind of, what direction you're going in? And there's no right or wrong answer, actually. I can simply say, well, I have an opinion. I'm a very opinionated person, and these are my opinions. This is the experience that I can share with you because I've been in the business for 20 years, and this is what I've observed. And because I specifically researched niche, this is additional information that I can give to you. One of the other things was when I was looking at something that really, for me, embodied the whole concept of what a niche really is, I came across the Japanese concept of ikigai. Now, some of you may be familiar with ikigai, which was first recognized when research was done on what they call blue spots around the world, which are parts of the world that are have populations that have extraordinary longevity, people living beyond and healthily beyond the age of 100 years and more. And on one of the Japanese islands, the islanders, every time people said to them, what is it that has given you, that you think lies at the center of your longevity? And they might have talked about lifestyle factors and diet and so on and so forth. But every single time, without fail, this concept called ikigai came up. And it's all around, at the center of this concept is that thing that drives you to get out of bed in the morning. Now, if you mention the subject of niche to me, I light up like a Christmas tree. So essentially, the topic of niche could be said to be my ikigai. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's what makes me look for material to read, and it's what attracts my attention and what I'm drawn to. And if you are interested in reading up a little bit more about this, you can go to the Knowledge Center on my website, www.nicheintelligence.co.za, and there's an article specifically on ikigaiing your niche. So these should all be familiar concepts to you by this stage. In fact, I think right back in module 2 or 3, you dealt with the concept of ikigai and starting to kind of tease out what it was that gives your life meaning. But can you see how I have demonstrated that from one central concept, which is the topic of niche, you can use it to form the basis of a whole, quite extensive body of content. And that initial long article, in fact, the very article that I'm referring to that I created, is the very first article on my website. And that initial long article, which is what content strategists call a pillar or a cornerstone or pillar piece of content, and you'll hear more about this in the next module, so don't get too worried about it. This is something that can be emailed to your clients either as a meaty, lengthy read, which showcases your mastery and subject matter expertise on your subjects and topic, or otherwise, you can break it up into a series of smaller articles, and you can say, this is part 1 of 5, 6, or 7 different articles, and you can email it out to your clients, and you can give them references back to the previous articles that you will have put on your blog post. And it's just one way of continually bringing people back to bringing traffic back to your website. Now, what I have just demonstrated to you is the basics or the fundamentals of creating what we call a value funnel. So because not every client wants to sit in one go and read a 5,000 word long article, you'll probably lose them after the first couple of paragraphs. And this is why you want to break it down into smaller sections. I use subheadings and topics. I use the spokes of the wheel to actually demarcate my smaller sections. And as I say, I use subheadings or subtopics that can each become an article by themselves and serve as an additional email that can be added to your value chain and your value funnel. But always referring back to the original long email and also to the other smaller, shorter emails in that same funnel. And I will show you in a separate training how to do this on MailerLite and ConvertKit in a tech training, and how this same process can actually be used for any funnel, including a welcome funnel, a sales funnel, a value funnel, which I've just chosen about, and even a re-engagement funnel if you see the people aren't opening your emails. So what is the difference between all of these different funnels? Well, you might want to create a welcome funnel to welcome anyone who first signs up for your email list. So a welcome funnel typically consists of 3 to 5 emails that you will send out maybe every 2 to 3 days. And each email will contain a slightly different take on the following, but will include most of the following. Your email will introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Megan Hudson. I am a marketing and business coach, and I specialize in helping clients find their niche and market their coaching practice organically and authentically. The next thing you want to do is, how can I help make your life easier and simpler and add value? Well, I, for example, break the whole marketing thing down into smaller, more manageable chunks so that by the time you've finished working with me, you don't realize how much knowledge you have actually built up and how much ease you have created in terms of the different steps around refining your message, getting it really, really fine-tuned, and also getting familiar with what it is that your clients want to hear from you. What makes you an expert? Well, that's your all around your background, your experience, and other credibility factors that might be your qualifications that you've done over the year. And you also might want to include part of your brand story. So, for example, my brand story would include something along the lines of when I first started out in coaching. Coaching was so new and such a new concept, particularly in South Africa. Remember, coaching only really hit the world in the mid-90s. So in 2002, when I was knocking on people's doors or phoning people, making those dreaded cold calls and saying, I'm a coach, can I come and see you and chat to you about the benefits of coaching your staff? People thought I was talking about soccer or cricket coaching and couldn't work out why I was phoning them in the human resources department. So that would be part of my brand story and part of the journey that I've gone on in terms of personally having to educate the clients that I have dealt with about the benefits of coaching. And remember too that in those early days, we did not have a rigorous body of knowledge or endless PhDs and master's theses that have done scientific research or not quite scientific research, but that have done credible research on various aspects of the coaching industry that we can now quote with ease, that helps us show people how credible coaching is and what kind of an impact it has on the lives of people, of staff and people working in various environments. The other thing that you want to do during these sort of 3 to 5 introductory emails is send them pure value. So you might want to share an infographic with them. You might want to share some kind of a guide, a checklist, an ebook, things along those lines, just completely free value that again help to build up their perceptions of your credibility. It's also important to ask them questions and to get them to engage with you so that it's a two-way street. So in other words, one of the things that you might want to do is to ask them to just answer a single question in the email and come back to you. Finally, what you want to do is talk briefly and genuinely about the products and services that you provide, such as courses, coaching, or even done-for-you services, but not in a salesy way. You don't want to be mentioning prices. You don't want to be shoving these things down people's throats, and you don't want them in any way to feel forced to have to work with you. This is all about building a relationship with your potential client. And then at the end of these introductory emails, point them in the direction of some blog articles or videos that they can find online that they might find really valuable at the start of their journey with you. So I, for example, have got a series of 3 videos on my YouTube channel that talk about what is a niche, why should you niche, and that just gives you briefly 5 steps to help you find and define your niche. And I can include links to those videos quite easily at the end of my emails. You want to do something similar to what I've described in each of the 3 to 5 videos. So you don't want to be repeating yourself, but remember that the person on the receiving end may not open every single email that they get from you. So in other words, even if they open only 2 out of the 5, you want them to get enough information about you to have built some level of credibility and authority with them, and also to give them a little bit of an inkling of the value that you can offer them on a personal basis. Because remember, everyone wants to work with something or someone that is going to help them do their job better. In your successive emails in your welcome sequence, reintroduce yourself and how you can help them. Let's bring this into a real life situation. Imagine you go to some kind of a networking function, and it's a coaching professional body, and you meet someone for the first time. You go to a second function, and you sit in the corner and you think, oh, flip, I know that I spoke to that person the last time. I just cannot for the life of me remember what their name is. So eventually you get up and you go over and you say, I'm so sorry. I know that we spoke last time, but my memory is absolutely dreadful. Can you please just remind me what your name is? I'm Megan, and this is what I do. And we're taking these things that happen in real life, and we're just turning them into email format. And never ever forget the rule that facts tell, but stories sell. So introduce yourself in a manner that's highly entertaining, conversational. Maybe you want to be a little bit controversial, and tell a story about where you started or something that happened to you early in your coaching career. You know, we've all got those stories. That is entertaining, but also makes them feel like you are talking directly to them and about them at a certain stage in their lives and careers. So I've already spoken about the value funnel, and I have included an image of what a typical value funnel looks like below this video. But in its simplest form, it's to take a value funnel is the next step on from your welcome funnel, where you take your series of blog articles, you put them into email form along with any video or other material or content that you might have made of the same, on the same topic. Remember that videos appeal to different kinds of learning styles, and send them as emails to the people who've signed up for your emailing list. As I said, I've included an outline of a value funnel below this training video, so you can refer to it anytime. And you can always just add on to the end of your value funnel so that it just continues running in the background in perpetuity. So in other words, every week I create new content when I create my educational videos on a Thursday on my Facebook page, Niche Intelligence with Megan Hudson. Those videos I then upload onto my YouTube channel. They go through a translation or a free transcription service. I turn them into articles that go onto my blog, and they also get added into my email value funnel. And I do get quite nice, I actually do get people responding back to me saying, such and such an email just really landed with me. And that story that you told, remember I told you stories sell. That story that you told resonated with me so deeply, and it made me feel like you were speaking directly to me. Now, the next thing we need to speak about is a promotional funnel. This is a little bit more complicated, and this is what I spoke briefly about when I referred to the possibility, when I referred earlier as one of the forms of funnels that you can do, is a daily training email funnel where for every day, for a period of 5 or more days, 5 seems to be the magic number. I know that people have done 31-day email challenges and so on. In fact, I participated in a 31-day vegan challenge at the beginning of this year, and I can tell you categorically that I've probably only read about 3 or 4 of the emails. So I would advise stick to a short period where you give tremendous value, you deliver some kind of training via email, but at the end of it, you do want to try and make some kind of a sale, or you're going to, or otherwise you need to ask yourself, why have you gone to all that trouble? Yes, you've built your credibility. Yes, you've established your subject matter expertise. But if you're not making a sale, if you're not inviting someone into a chemistry session with you, if you're not inviting someone into a packaged coaching process that might be based on the way that your 5-day training was structured, then you are going to a lot of trouble for nothing. But a promotional email funnel is one of the easiest ways of showcasing your expertise and delivering compelling value. And the nice thing about it is that if you are publicity or visibility averse, your exposure is minimal because, for example, you're not doing a live video launch on Facebook or running webinars or sitting in front of the camera. And if you're not ready for that yet, this is a very, very viable option for you. So just make sure that it's really packed with value. You also want to make sure that because you're not there and following up with people, that you are giving them homework every day, and you are asking them perhaps to put their homework up on your Facebook group, or otherwise send their homework to you so that you can give them some kind of feedback on it, and maybe even offer some kind of a special prize that people who put their homework up every day on a daily basis will win a free or 3 coaching sessions, 3 free coaching sessions with you. You can decide. It's entirely up to you, but it's nice to reward people for creating traffic specifically on your online social media networking sites, but also it's nice to reward people for interacting with you and making that content. I know that I've got somebody going through one of my self-study courses at the moment, and I have said to her, my sweetie, anytime you have questions or you get stuck, you've got my number, pick up the phone, call me, or we can schedule a call that is convenient at a time that is convenient for the two of us. And even just yesterday, she said to me, I have gotten so much out of this call. I feel like I have done an entire course all in one day from you. So I actually packaged up one of my online 5-day launches that I did on Facebook, which had in the morning I used to put out a morning training video. I used to give people an exercise to do every day, and in the afternoons I used to do a live Q&A session. And I obviously explained to people that this was based on a launch that I had previously done on Facebook that had been live and interactive. But what I did was I popped all of the videos up onto YouTube, and I created an email funnel that people could sign up to free of charge, where they would then get an email every single day that had the training video, the exercise, and then the Q&A, so that they could work through it at their own pace. Again, it was just a lovely way of reusing and repurposing assets that I had already created. And remember that every single time you do something like this, you are creating a new asset for your business. If you do a 5-day written email launch, that can be turned into an ebook that you get people to sign up for free of charge. You can also add a bit of a scarcity element, although neuroscience tells us that this is not really, it doesn't really go down well with our brains, but you can add a scarcity element by only offering it for a certain period of time. So giving people a week within which to sign up, and that the videos will be removed after a certain period of time. So when I did a recent online launch on Facebook, which was a mini version of my 12-week huge program, my marketing and sales accelerator for coaches. So I did a mini 5-day version. Everybody got training videos in the morning. They got some kind of an exercise to work on during the day. And then I actually did Q&A videos in the afternoon via Zoom, so that there was that two-way interaction. And I must say, I will do that. I will make that my standard practice, because I just felt that the connection and relationship was so much stronger. And what I did was I put all of the training videos, the exercises, and then the Q&A videos up onto a catch-up page that people could just go onto and do like a quick binge watch if they had missed a day, because we've all got other stuff on our plates, and the reality is that we can't always be available all the time. But I only made that catch-up page available for a limited period of time. I think I ran the original training from Monday to Friday, and originally I was only going to leave the catch-up page up until the Sunday, and then I had quite a few requests from people to say they just hadn't had enough time. Could I give them a little bit more time? So I left it up until I think it was the following Friday. If you don't use and reuse and repurpose your content like this, it becomes dead wood, and you can't reuse it again at a later stage to get people signing up to your email list. So again, that 5-day mini sales and marketing accelerator that I did, I could turn that into two different things. Firstly, there's a wonderful landing page that I've created that's got all the videos and all of the exercises, and I can get people to sign up to that via email. Secondly, I can take that, put it through the free transcription service that I use, otter.ai, and I can turn it into an ebook. But the key thing is to tell people that what they are getting in something like that is only a small little fraction of what they get when they sign up for my full course, and that there is just so much more value in the course. I mean, those of you who are this far down the line on the course can attest to exactly that fact. But your key thing is to create your content first, and then to get people signing up for it. And how do you do this? Well, it's actually really, really simple. And again, I'm going to show you in the tech training, excuse me, I need to swap feet. In the tech training that I'm doing with on ConvertKit and MailerLite, where we use landing pages, sign-up forms, and even pop-ups on our websites to get people to click and sign up to receive our emails or training. The reason why I'm not doing MailChimp is because in October 2018, MailChimp actually changed what they offered on their free packages. So anybody who has what we call a legacy package, one that predates that, and I do not have a legacy package, has got a lot more functionality with their MailChimp mailing program. MailerLite seems to have stepped in and fulfilled that wonderful gap between what MailChimp used to offer and what ConvertKit offers. Now, I personally use ConvertKit. It's expensive, I must just warn you, but I think it's worth every cent. And in fact, anybody in the world of creating content like this, I think will back me up in saying that it's worth every cent. It is so easy to use. It is so easy to integrate with other tools. You can integrate it into your WordPress site without any problems. You can integrate it into your payment packages like PayPal, PayFast, and so on without any problems whatsoever. It is simply wonderful. And MailerLite offers quite similar and fairly easy to integrate functionality as well. So I have no hesitation in offering MailerLite as an alternative if you don't have the budget right now, because they allow you to use it free of charge for anything up to, I think it's 1,000 subscribers. It's only when you hit that 1,000 subscriber mark that you then start getting charged to use it. Okay. I've also, I just love gadgets and gimmicks. I don't have a lot of history with this, so I can't really report on how effective it is, but I've also just introduced a cunning little thing on my WordPress site called a Hello Bar, where I allow people to sign up for I'm losing my microphone yet again. A cunning little bar called the Hello Bar on my WordPress site. You do need to upgrade your WordPress site so that you can upload widgets like this. But it sits at the top of my page and it invites people to sign up for my free ebook, which is really it's my original ebook. It's called 5 Insider Secrets to Market Your Coaching Practice Without Spending a Cent. And it's my pillar piece of free content, which probably tells me that it's time to write a new one or to expand that one. But for now, you simply need to remember that we are going to give people a link to click on that will take them to a form where they are going, or you're going to learn to give people a link to click on that will take them to a form where they will give us their name, their email address, and permission to send an email. I also include in my form an additional field where I ask a question, and the question might be something like, what is the biggest challenge that is currently stopping you from marketing your coaching practice right now? Or what is stopping you from creating regular content? Or what is most standing in the way of you becoming visible? Or even what is the biggest thing preventing you from getting clients right now? And this ongoing information, the ongoing answers that I get to this, and I have 5 to 20 people signing up for my various free resources every single day. So I'm getting between 5 and 20 answers to my different questions on a daily basis. And let me tell you, it is invaluable because firstly, it's keeping me up to date with what issues my clients are having so that I can serve them better by creating content that is relevant for their needs. And secondly, it continually just feeds my content inspiration. So anyway, once someone has signed up for your welcome funnel, then you can use your email service provider to just shift them into your value funnel. And whenever you are ready to launch a product, you can move them across into a sales or promotional funnel at any time. So again, I have given you a very simple value funnel to look at below this training. And I'm also going to be talking to you about sales funnels. Okay, so if you have a look at the value funnel, you will see that my traffic comes from a number of different sources. So, for example, from my business directory listings. So I will always make sure that there is a link to one of my free resources in any of my online business directory listings. You will see that I use Facebook in a big way, and probably the single biggest way that I use Facebook is in introduction to my Facebook Live videos on my business page. I give some kind of a call to action or a link where people can sign up to receive a free resource from me of some kind or another that relates to the content of that video. Similarly, when I turn that video into an article, at the end of the article, I give people the link to sign up for that same free resource. And it could be anything from an infographic, a free 30-day social media calendar, a 5-day free email training course, anything that offers value, even the ebook that I mentioned earlier. And this is the hook that gets them to give you their email address and join your email list. Your LinkedIn profile is simply another place in your posts, in your introduction to your LinkedIn profile, and also in the articles that you write in your LinkedIn profile. Instagram, always have a link to a free download or resource in the introduction to your Instagram profile. Instagram's not one of my areas of expertise, so I'm not going to go into any detail there. And on your Twitter account, you can just simply tweet out if you're interested in a free ebook on XYZ. Watch this video, and in the introduction, you will get a link to download the book. So your call to action or your invitation to join your email list must be everywhere, and you sweeten the deal by offering something with free value, like an ebook, a guide, an infographic. It could even be a free chemistry session where you promise the person that they will go away with 3 different strategies that they can implement immediately to change what they're doing. So you can prepare that in advance. I've got a friend, Laura, who deals with health issues, and she is always fully booked for her strategy sessions because she promises that you will walk away with 3 strategies that are tailored for you. And she has just created a whole list of different strategies and actions that people can take that she can choose from depending on the way the conversation has gone. And there's always that invitation for people to make contact with her again. So I mentioned earlier that one of the important things that I do when I get people to sign up for my email list is that I always make them answer a question about one of the challenges that they are facing in terms of marketing their practices, creating consistent contact, finding the time, finding contact ideas, and so on and so forth. So my database of inspiration is continually being updated and filled with problems that my potential and ideal clients are facing. So this is the magical machine that keeps giving me content inspiration. And you wanted to know where I get my inspiration from? There it is. It's as simple as that, and I'm going to teach it to you so that you can do it as well. I also add every response that I get to a database, and the database is split into, so I've got a whole range of different free resources that I give away depending on what my content topic might be at the time. So if, for example, I have offered somebody a free 30-day social media content calendar, I then add their name and the response that they've given to me to that particular sheet in my spreadsheet. And I'm also able to categorize and draw a common thread so that I can pull out 4 or 5 threads around creating consistent social media on their social media channels. I now have their content details, so I can email them value content for as long as I wish. I can also make sure, because I've got that little bit of extra information, that I email them special tailored content. So all the people who have signed up for my free 30-day social media content, well, the next thing they know is on a monthly basis, they might receive a whole month's worth of suggested content mapped out for them with public holidays included in it, so that they actually don't really need to think and agonize in advance about what it is that they're going to put out. I do want to just warn you that people will unsubscribe, and you know that every now and again you go through your own email list and you say, I'm just overwhelmed. I am so oversubscribed to so many different sources, and I'm getting so many hundreds of emails that are actually full of the biggest load of codswallop on a daily basis. I'm unsubscribing from you. I'm unsubscribing from you. And get selective. A lot of people have a sort of 6 monthly clean out of their email subscriptions, where they just now take it right down to the people who are really giving them ongoing continued value. And when you do it, it's nothing personal. You've got nothing against the person that you're unsubscribing from. It's just that you don't feel that they are offering you enough value to take up your precious time. But the important thing is to keep feeding new people in from the front end by creating constant and consistent contact that makes them want to follow you more closely, develop a relationship with you, and not miss out on the value that you have to offer. So a value series can simply go on forever as long as you have new content to add. And I've just revealed my secrets about where I get a never-ending source of content ideas and inspiration from. And in fact, where's my notebook? You know that I do regular videos every Thursday, and in my notebook I've actually got 5 different topics already mapped out for the next 5 Thursdays in advance. They're not cast in stone. I don't have to do every single one of them, and something might kind of, crop up that will, that I will have a strong opinion on and want to really, really speak about in the meantime. But the fact of the matter is, I have a resource that I keep. I mean, this is just my Bible that I keep close to me at all times so that I can jot down every time I have any kind of inspiration. Again, in theory, every week after I've done my Facebook Live training, and some of you may have received the infographic that I created to break this process down, I take my Facebook Live, I put it through a free transcription service. I then take that transcription and I turn it into an article for my blog. And I also post that same long article, because it is a long article, on LinkedIn, as well as send it to my email subscribers. I then take the original article and if I haven't already put in subheadings, I add in subheadings, shorten it to about 3 to 5 paragraphs long, and create a series of smaller and shorter posts that I can put out on my blog with links to it on my social media feeds. Okay. I include the original video in the long form of the article to cater for those people who would rather consume their content in that way. And I'm now even considering stripping out the audio from the video so that I can start including that as a podcast, so that people who are driving to work or in the shower, or perhaps, doing some other kind of manual work or cooking in the kitchen, can just put it on in the background and listen while it's convenient for them. I know a lot of people do their exercise listening to podcast content, but you can listen to podcasts whenever it's convenient for you. You can download and listen to podcasts when it's convenient. So that's my next project. So why do I reuse the same content from my Facebook Live videos on my website, on my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn profile, my email value sentence, break it down into smaller articles and so on? Because not everyone is everywhere at the same time, and so they don't always catch the original broadcast. So you always want to have something coming out there that will link them back to the original full piece of material and give them the choice of consuming it either in one go, in video format, in podcast format, if you decide to go that route, or in 5 smaller articles, and give the people the links to all of the 5 smaller articles. And you have to have all 5 of those links in each of your 5 articles, because somebody might actually come in on article number 2, and you want to be able to get them back to article number 1 so that they can read it successively in a way that will make proper sense, the way that you created the content. But people's email inboxes are a completely different story, and the statistics show that you have a far greater chance of your clients actually taking the time to consume your content, make notes, and take action on your content than you do if they are just reading a post online, scrolling through their endless online social media feeds. So that brings me to the next, so that's a value funnel. So that brings me to the next funnel that we need to deal with, which is a sales funnel. And this can be inserted into a value funnel, a welcome funnel, at any point in time. It's a little bit more complicated, and it involves creating things like sales pages, landing pages, thank you pages, and also funneling your clients to wherever they need to go in order to make their payment. And once they've made a successful payment, taking them to the course or product that you are trying to sell them. So I will touch on this briefly, but that is perhaps some material for a different course, and there are also a lot of people who teach that. But sales sequences typically come at the end of some kind of a launch. So you remember I spoke about an email launch. You remember I spoke about doing an online launch on Facebook, the kinds of ones that I do, where I do videos on a regular basis. And again, I've included a visual at the underneath this video where you can see the various moving parts where the goal is to actually move people into purchasing something from you. Now, when it comes to sales, do you remember in module 6, we worked on our business pyramids, and one of the things that we looked at was having a variety of products that are priced at different prices. So the more interaction and the closer they get to having contact with you, the more they end up having to pay. So in other words, you might have a tripwire product, which could be an extensive an extensive ebook or a training booklet or an email training course that somebody might pay as little as between $7 and $29 for. And this is what is called our tripwire product. Okay, it's our entry level, lowest bottom of the range product. It might even be a single session, a single coaching session that they have with you at a specially discounted price that you offer for a limited period of time. I've even got colleagues who offer various different kinds of assessments, and they offer reduced pricing on these assessments, and they also reduce what they would normally charge for a briefing session as an entry level or tripwire offer to them. It's they work out a little bit more expensive than the traditional tripwire offer. Remember, your tripwire offer needs to be something between $7 and about $29 or $49. I think I've priced mine as. But psychologically, once somebody has made their first purchase from you, there's a very good chance that they're going to come back again. And especially if you have given them extraordinary value. I'll never forget, I had a client who I did some work for years ago. And at the end of it, he said to me in front of the whole group, Megan, you have not only delivered on your brief, but you have surprised and delighted us. And I have used that as kind of the underlying motto for the work that I create and the caliber of the work that I want to offer my clients. I want you to get so much value from me that you are surprised and delighted that you got it for that amount. So getting back to the sales sequence, I've included a visual so that you can see the various moving parts. So you've got your tripwire offer. You've then got what we would call your kind of mid-priced offer. So you then would maybe offer them, a little bit more of a value sequence. Once they've purchased your tripwire offer, you move back into a value sequence for a while. And then you create some kind of promotional hype about this mid-priced offer. So it might be that it's your birthday, or it's the anniversary of your business, or it could be we're coming up for is it Black Friday? There are all sorts of reasons why you can offer your mid-level product at what you are calling a really, really special price. And you can just quickly slot that into your value email sequence. But it's something that you can rinse and repeat. And again, if they purchase that, all very well. If they don't, they can continue in your value sequence, and at a later stage, invite them to an online launch that you're doing. So it could be, again, as I've spoken about repeatedly in this video, a Facebook launch with where you have taken from your big signature offer, you take little pieces of value and you package it together into a mini version of your signature training, and you run that in somewhere, whether it's via email or online or however you choose to run it. So I often do online launches using Facebook, where I take bits of my big marketing and sales accelerator and just package it up into tiny little steps. And I offer this to the people who are in my sales funnel. And once I have finished my online training, they go into a hard sales part of my sales funnel. Now, there are 5 basic steps that this consists of, and that is firstly the content. So perhaps while you are running your free training, they're getting free content every single day. Your second step is what we would call the value. So this might be, again, more of the value that you are offering, or it could be a free resource. The third step, and this is when you get to the end of your training, is the bridge. And this is where you start to say, this is just kind of a taste of what you can experience from working with me in my full-scale signature course, the Marketing and Sales Accelerator for Coaches. And this is what I cover. And in your email, you actually go through in detail what the different modules are, and how going through that module is going to benefit their business and have an impact on their business. Then your next 2 emails are hard sales. The one is the pitch, and finally you go into the scarcity, where you basically say, so in the pitch, you would say, this is what it consists of, this is what the cost is. And in your final email, the scarcity, you might say, you've got the next 24 hours in which to sign up, and during that time I'm adding in the following bonuses, but you only get them if you sign up and pay in full within the next 24 hours. So you are offering additional benefit and value to your clients. Now, I know I spoke about neuroscience saying that scarcity is not a good thing. However, we're balancing that by offering them extra additional value and bonuses. So this is one of the most basic sales funnels that you'll find. Another different kinds of sales funnels are webinar funnels, which are a lot more complicated. But I suggest you start with this one, and I've given you some basic copy that you can use for all of these funnels, that you can tweak into language that sounds more like you. And when you have tweaked it, don't forget to ask your friends and family if they wouldn't mind sparing just a few minutes giving you their input as to whether or not it sounds like you. Do give them the caveat that you are selling something, okay? So warn them in advance that they are going to be pitched to during the course of reading whatever it is that you have created. And finally, remember to always write like you speak. So your potential clients who have been following you, hopefully, faithfully up to now, have bought into a particular personality and a particular style, and you need to be consistent in using it. So I will see you in the tech trainings. Now, I just want to remind you about the additional bonuses in this particular module. Firstly, you have you've got the diagram of a basic value funnel, or one that can also work as a welcome funnel. You've got a diagram for a sales funnel, and I've given you a simple sales funnel as well as a more complicated sales funnel that sells from your tripwire to your mid-level price product right up to your signature product. I have given you some samples of emails that you can use in your sales funnel, of emails that you can use in your value funnel, and some topics that you can write on. I have given you samples of what you can write, how you can craft your welcome funnel. So there are quite a few bonuses that you are getting from this particular module, and there's quite a lot of work for you to do. But next, we get on to the other very important tool, and I'm doing a separate training on this as well, which is using videos. So I remember the 3 sales accelerator tools that I have spoken about are having a blog on your website, and I've touched on that in places throughout this video. Creating automated email funnels, and I've spoken about the different kinds of funnels that you can get, and you're getting a lot of resources around these funnels. And finally, I'm going to be dealing with videos. So I will see you in the video training.